I don't know if y'all caught that, but I had to grab something really quick before the live started. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning, and happy Wednesday. Welcome to another live here with me, Asia Nasir, the host of Wake Up Wednesdays. Every other Wednesday, where I share gems and powerful tools, interactive activities for you to be able to, become the best version of yourself, challenge yourself, and just have that reset button every other Wednesday, just as a reminder of who you are, what you bring to the table, how you show up in the world, so that way you can truly be the best version of yourself. So, for those of you who follow on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of my social media pages. Welcome back and thank you for tuning in again. And for those of you who are new to my channel, as I mentioned before, my name is Asia Nasir, and I am the founder of a nonprofit organization called Jessica Cares. And Jessica Cares is a female empowerment platform that helps teen girls and women to build up their self-esteem, sense of self-worth, and help them to show up in the world with purpose and intention, so that way they can make a difference not only for themselves but for those that they care about, and so that way they can live a life and not just be in existence but really truly live and be the best version of themselves. So before we start, I want to make sure that our Facebook family is able to follow. So I just have to make sure that the privacy settings for the live, I don't know why it puts them on private all the time. So I have to edit it. I have to, put it public for our Facebook family to be able to see. So I just went ahead and did that, made sure that our Facebook family is joining us today. So let's get right into this week's topic, which I think is so, so important, talking about self-esteem and how we show up in the world. And that's stepping outside of your comfort zones and how to challenge yourself and grow. How do you challenge yourself? So we hear it all the time, step outside your comfort zone. It's almost, it really is. It almost is kind of like cliche. It sounds like just a saying, a hashtag even nowadays, right? Stepping, out of your comfort zone and challenging yourself. And it's easier said than done, actually. It really is. It's easier said than done, especially if you're an introvert, especially if you're someone who's had experiences in your life, whether as a young child or even as an adult, you've challenged yourself or, attempted to challenge yourself, and you had those that were closest to you or those that you trusted the most shut you down, tell you why you can't do something, or you've just had a really bad experience growing up being told of what you're not going to be or who you're not. And so, stepping outside of comfort zones can be extremely challenging. It can be triggering. It could even be traumatic if not done in a safe space. And that safe space, and what I'm saying is, a lot of times we look for that safe space as external factors. We look for other people to make our journey of stepping outside our comfort zone their responsibility, to make us feel comfortable and make us feel safe, in order to do that. And what we have to realize is when we are stepping outside of our comfort zone, that is an internal choice. That is something that you have to do for yourself, to create a safe space for you to be able to show up in the world and show up for yourself, as the best version of yourself, in order to do the things that you want to accomplish, the goals that you want to accomplish. You have to create that safe space. So that means you have to make a commitment. Before we even get into the strategies, you have to make a commitment to yourself that you are going to silence, you are going to distance, you are going to drown out anything that is going to deter you from that. And unfortunately, that may be people that you've known your whole life. And that doesn't mean that you have to detach yourself from those people and never speak to them again. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you have to learn that that's not a safe space for me to share this goal, this dream, this, thing, this opportunity that I'm going to go after. They may not be a safe space for that because their words are discouraging. So what you have to do is, like, as I mentioned before, create that safe space. And if it's only you and a very small group, and we'll be talking about that, very small group of people, or just for yourself, sometimes you have to hold things close to the chest. in order for you to keep that safe. And if that's you, just keeping yourself safe, that's okay. So I want us, before we even get into the strategies of how to step outside your comfort zones, how to challenge yourself and so forth, I want you in this moment right now to set an intention, because everything starts with that. Set an intention that you are going to challenge yourself, that you are going to be your safe space, that you are going to live a life of purpose, and that you are going to show up each and every day for you, not anyone else, but for you. I want you to make that intention right now. So now that we've made that intention, we know this is something that, you know what, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm on this live. This is exactly what I've been struggling with. Let's get right into the different strategies that you can try for yourself that maybe you've never done before, but that you can, you can try now or explore to be able to do something. And remember, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if I'm giving strategies and it seems like that's kind of simple, or that doesn't seem like that's going to require much, if you're stepping outside your comfort zones, doing anything different, it is a big deal. And you're going to see how it's going to impact you when you just step out and do something different. Again, nothing changes until something changes. So that means stepping outside your comfort zone can't just stay in your mind. It has to be an action. It has to be a verb, but it first starts with the mind, right? So let's get right into strategy number 1. And I'm only giving 3 today. And that's because I don't want to give so many strategies that you feel overwhelmed and you don't know which one to do. Let's just start with just a few, so that way you can really start implementing it and then continue to take that challenge on for yourself, to take on new ways in which you can, step outside of your routine or things that keep you stagnant and keep you not where you want to be. So strategy number 1 is, I call it, depending on your personality, I call it a yes day challenge, or for some of us rebels, a disruptive day, challenge. I want you to take it at whichever one works for you, a yes day challenge or a disruptive day challenge. And what I want you to do is, on a sheet of paper, write your routine. What time you get up in the morning, what time you eat lunch, where do you typically eat lunch, what do you typically eat, how do you dress, whatever that is, that's your routine. I want you to write it down on the left side of the sheet. On the opposite side of the sheet, I want you to challenge yourself to actually do something different. So if you wake up at a certain time, don't wake up at that time. Put a different time you're going to wake up. If you wear certain colors all the time, you're a pastel color, a soft, color, maybe you wear all black, maybe you wear just, regular. Even if you're a nurse and you wear scrubs and you wear just plain scrubs, I want you to challenge yourself, a yes day, a disruptive day, to say, I'm going to wear colors today. Hey, Huda, assalamu alaikum. Wear scrubs with colors, wear bright colors, wear something that you would typically not wear, colors that you would not wear. If you wear your hairstyle a certain way all the time, challenge yourself that day. Say yes to yourself. Say yes to yourself. Disrupt your regular routine. And you see what I'm saying? I'm starting with something small, not something big, because a lot of times when we take on these challenges and say, oh, I'm going to step outside my comfort zone and I'm going to quit my job, I'm not talking about that. That may come, but you got to take small steps in order to shock your system and shock your mind, to be able to embrace the fact that you are capable of change and that you are capable of shifting and changing the dynamics of your life, and taking that step and being uncomfortable, right? Being uncomfortable. So say yes. If you know you're going to have a meeting that day at work, and typically you don't say anything at the meeting, you don't engage, you don't give your opinions at the meeting, say yes that day. Challenge yourself that day, even if it's one thing. Make a commitment that I am going to participate and engage, and I'm going to show up at that meeting today. If I wear all black, or I wear plain colors, or I'm just not out there, wear bold colors that day. Make it a point to wear something that even when you look at it, it makes your stomach like feel. That's when you know you're doing something. That's when you know you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. So wear that. If you go to lunch in the same place, you eat the same thing, go to a different restaurant. Go to a different place to eat. The reason why I'm saying this is because you're disrupting your routine. You are challenging yourself to do something different. You know, if you're a person that doesn't smile, if you go into a room and people always, you look serious all the time, and that's just some of us. Some of us, that's just our personality. I want you to challenge yourself to smile. When you see people, smile at them. Good morning, good afternoon, or whatever. It sounds simple. It sounds simple, but if you're a person that kind of, plays it close to the chest, you're always, kind of internal with, drawn in. This is you stepping outside your comfort zone, even in the simplest of things that normally you wouldn't do. And the reason why I'm saying that this is a great challenge for you is because at the end of the day, what I want you to do is journal everything that you shocked your system to do, where you ate, what you wore, what you said that day, disrupting your routine. What did it say about you that day? What did it say about maybe some subconscious fears that you may have had about doing any of those things? I want you to journal at the end of the day. How did it make you feel when you smiled and saw people's responses? How did it make you feel when you actually engaged in that meeting? How did it feel when you wore colors that you normally don't wear, or you wore your hair a different way? For women like me who wear hijab, maybe you wore it differently. How did it make you feel to actually walk outside of your house and disrupt everything that you hold so close, that you hold so safe to keep you as you feel safe, and that you totally disrupted that or said yes to yourself to give yourself permission to do something different? And the reason why it's beneficial is because if you can do something different, you can challenge yourself to do something different in something small, and you create a routine of doing that. And you start seeing, hey, it's not as bad as I thought. Actually, I'm getting compliments. Actually, that made me feel good to smile at someone and, say hello, say good morning, and, to engage. I found that people really thought that, my opinion was a great opinion at that meeting. When you start consistently doing that, that shifts your subconscious mind to think that you don't have something valuable to say, or that you are not seen, or that you are not heard, or that you are not recognized. It shifts that thought process to say, look at, or fears that you may have had. It turns those fears into something that's not reality, which is what it typically is. A fear is just a thought that we have that really is just, it doesn't have weight. It doesn't have evidence of it. Now you're giving evidence to everything that you feared. Now you're giving evidence to the opposite. Look at how people respond to you. Look at how you show up in the world. Look at how you shifted that meeting. Look at how you shifted that mood for the next person. How you show up and interact, even in small things. It teaches the mind, and it starts reprogramming your subconscious, which really kind of guides, our active thought. It allows your subconscious to say, hey, this is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I actually have some worth. I actually have things that to say that people want to hear. And so now it gives you permission to take on another challenge and take on something else that you thought you would be too afraid, or felt like, I don't have what it takes. So taking small things and giving yourself, as I say, a disruptive day or a yes day. So you could choose whatever day that is. If you want to start the beginning of the week that way, or you want to end the week that way, choose a day every week. Every week. This is not a one-time thing, because this has to be something consistent, so that way your mind embraces this change. You have to do this every week. Pick a day to be your yes day or your disruptive day, whichever your personality accepts. The second strategy is And if you have any tips here for those of you that are tuning in, put them in the comments. I would love to share it. I'll actually put it up on the screen so everybody else that's seeing it can actually hear your opinion. So this, if you want to talk about stepping outside your comfort zone, this is an opportunity to be heard. If you have a strategy that you think works or something that you've thought about, but you didn't do it because you were too afraid to do it, put it in this comment section. So I'm actually challenging you right now to step outside your comfort zone. So put it in the comments. I'll see it, whether you're tuning in on Facebook, in LinkedIn, or YouTube. I can put it up on the screen so everybody can see it. So please leave your comment or your suggestion for stepping outside your comfort zone and challenging yourself in order to grow. All right. So strategy number two. Strategy number two is what I call the mirror dare. The mirror dare is where you're looking at yourself and you're actually speaking one affirmation, but but here's the caveat: within 30 seconds, you have to follow up that affirmation with an action. Because as I've said before in the beginning of this live, is that changing something requires a verb. It requires something that you have to do. It's not something that you say, okay, I'm setting an intention. An intention is where it starts, but it's not going to change until you actually put action behind it. So let me give you an example. If you know at your job there's a promotion coming up or there's a position coming up that you're like, I know I would be good for this position. I know that I can do it. That morning, make a promise to yourself, say an affirmation: I am capable. I am the woman for the job. I am the woman for the job. If y'all have a, send an email, send a text to that manager, that supervisor, saying, I want to apply for that position. Or if you're at your job, go to the bathroom at your job, say, I am capable, I am the woman for the job. And then you walk out and you tell that manager and you tell that supervisor, I want to apply for that position. Or you go on your computer, because some jobs, they have it where you could just go online and you can apply, but you follow it up within 30 seconds and you hit that send button. Hit that send button. If you are someone looking to lose weight and you signed up for that gym and you ain't been into the gym yet, you haven't showed up because you're afraid of what people are going to think or whatever, tell yourself, I can do this. I am proud of myself. Whatever the affirmation is, I am going to lose weight. I am going to look like whatever, whatever your goal is. And within 30 seconds, get your car and drive to that gym. Drive to that gym. Or within 30 seconds, call that personal trainer you've been wanting to call to ask if they will personally train you and help you. Follow up an affirmation with an action immediately. Because what holds us back is we start telling ourselves all the reasons why it's not going to work. You shut that down. You shut that down. You show up for you by shutting it down. You give yourself an affirmation and you follow it up with an action. That is where you start training yourself. Again, our brain is like a computer. It only takes in what you give it, good or bad, right? So if you have, as I mentioned before, if you have kind of, showed up small because someone told you, whether growing up, that you wasn't capable or you couldn't do this or whatever, or in your adult life, someone told you the same thing, or you had a bad experience when you stepped out, that is where your brain is stuck. It is telling yourself, if you do this again, if you step outside your comfort zone again, this is going to be met with this outcome. You have to reprogram your mind by creating new experiences. You have to create a new experience that shows that when you step up consistently, you will have a different experience. Every experience won't be the same. But if you continue to challenge yourself, dare yourself, apply for that position, even turn in that resignation. Maybe you are in a setting where you can do that, where you can turn in that resignation. I know I did that in 2016. I was working at a bank and I had become a Muslim. I had took my Shahada, converted to Islam, and my supervisor, who was always nice to me, all of a sudden, literally 3 weeks after I started wearing hijab to work, started to harass me. Everything I did was wrong. She started to write me up. I had been working for that company for 7 years, had never been written up. I start wearing hijab to work, and within 3 weeks, she's calling, she's sending harassing emails. She's, what I'm not doing right. Even when I was stepping outside and doing things that my other counterparts wasn't doing, that I was being praised for by other people, my supervisor was nitpicking and finding everything wrong and actually writing me up for stuff that I had never been written up for before. And it gotten so bad that even physically, when I thought about going to work, I would get physically sick. Well, it took a little while. It wasn't quite a year. I had prayed about it. I had looked at my finances. I looked at my personal situation. I continued to pray about it. And I remember I wrote that, I was like, I can do this. I can start my business full time. And I'm not saying this is for everybody. That's why I said I did my due diligence. I checked my finances. I did all of those different things. And then I made a decision. I said, I'm going to resign. I'm going to give my 2-week notice. Now, mind you, this was almost a 6-figure job. It's almost a 6-figure job. And I said, I'm going to give in my resignation. Now, I ain't going to lie. When I said that, I woke up that morning. I said, I'm going to do it right now. And I sat up here and I handed it literally right after I handed in the resignation. I was like, what the heck did I just do? Right? But it was a weight lifted off of me, that stress that I felt or whatever. And that means, whether that's going to look for another job or really putting out your work full time, whatever it is, but challenge yourself and then follow it up with an action. It may feel scary. It may feel like, even after, like I said, you're like, what did I just do? Did I really just apply for that position? What if I actually get the position? Yeah, what if? What if you actually get the job? What if you actually, ask for that mentorship and get it? What if you reach out to that personal trainer and they're like, yeah, I'm taking new applicants. I can take you on. And you start on your fitness and wellness journey, right? Whatever it is, you have to follow it up quickly. Don't sit on it. Do it quickly. Don't procrastinate. Look yourself in the mirror, whether it's at your job or at home, and then within 30 seconds, make that phone call, send that email, send that text, doing exactly what it is that you just affirmed, looking at yourself in the mirror and giving honor to yourself by actually doing it. Okay, so that's strategy number 2. Strategy number 3, we hear about it all the time, but I want us to really listen to this. A lot of times in my faith, it says, choose your companions wisely, right? Prophet, he peace and blessings be upon him. He said, choose your companions wisely. And it's so true, that statement. A lot of times we want to be here, but the companions and the people that we have around us are here, right? And we're wondering why you're not being challenged to do more, why you're not stepping outside your comfort zones. It's because you're too comfortable. You're around people who don't challenge you. You're around people that don't even challenge themselves, right? They may feed into your fears. That doesn't mean you can't be friends with them. However, you don't have to give as much time as you're giving to these individuals, because they're not helping you move and grow and live in alignment with your purpose and what you give to the world. What you need to create for yourself. And I really want you to think about this. Who, no matter what I tell them, whether that's a family member, a friend, or even a colleague, or even your spouse, no matter what I tell them, they're always encouraging me, always telling me, you can do it. Oh my God, like what? I think you be the best person for the job. Apply for that job, start that business, whatever it is. They're always your biggest cheerleader. If it's one person or if it's a small group, like 2 or 3 people that you're like, no matter what, they're always cheering me on. I want you to create what's called an accountability circle. an accountability circle, and your challenge circle. And when you create that small group, I want you to talk about what it is you're afraid of. What is it that you're struggling with as far as stepping outside your comfort zone? Because stepping outside your comfort zone feels uncomfortable, right? So I want these group of women, or whoever you have, that one person or a couple of people, to be your safe space, that you can actually say out loud what you've been thinking in your subconscious mind, which is, I'm afraid. I feel like this is why I don't want to do this. I've had this experience before. And then those individuals, those cheerleaders, those that believe in you, that they know that you're capable of doing anything that you set your mind to, have them, and you give back to them the encouragement that you need, the cheerleading, and giving you a different perspective, because sometimes perception is reality. So if you're telling yourself you can't do that, the other person doesn't see that. They didn't experience whatever it is that you're so afraid of. So they're able to give you a neutral and uncompromised perspective of how you can actually challenge yourself, do it differently, look at it differently, maybe remind you of things that you've done that you didn't even remember. It was like, that's why I know that you can do it. Remember you did this, remember you did that. And it's reminding you of all of the greatness that you actually have within you, so that way you can actually step outside. So have that circle of people that's willing to challenge you. And then what you do is you track your progress. Track each other's progress. How did that go? Did you make that phone call? What happened in that phone call? And if it was a positive experience, I want you to celebrate together. I don't care if it's virtual, even. If you on a fitness journey with your friend or whatever, and y'all have reached a certain goal, and you want to have a little not cheat day, a cheat meal, where you have a scoop of ice cream or whatever it is, and y'all do it together, whatever it is. But I want you to celebrate together the fact that you are actually, even if they're small wins, it takes small acts to create a big impact. You gotta start somewhere. So I want you to be able to create it. So I want you to challenge yourself right now. Who's that one person? Who's that two or three people in my life that are really my cheerleaders, that no matter what, they're always giving me positive feedback, always encouraging me and reminding me of who I sometimes forget I am. And I want you to create that accountability circle. So really be selective of who this is, because this is going to play a huge role in you actually creating change, which is the hardest part, right? The reason why I did this live is because I wanted to share the benefits as well of stepping outside our comfort zone. Some of us have chosen to live a life and play small. When you play small, you do such a disservice to yourself as well as other people. When you actually step outside your comfort zone, you awaken hidden parts of yourself. You have these talents, these skill sets, these powerful things in you that can make such a difference in the world even if it's for your family. Why do you think they have people that they call the matriarch of our family, right? Because they're the influencers. We got all these social media influencers. Some of us don't need to be social media influencers. We're influencers in our home, with our children, with our grandchildren, with our spouses. We're that influencer. We're the person that people go to because we lead by example. We awaken what's hidden in us when we challenge ourselves. Sometimes we don't even realize what's in us until we actually do something like, I didn't think I was capable, but I'm actually good at this, right? It was already there. You just needed to awaken it, right? What I want you to remember, if you don't remember anything else, is that resilience, being powerful within, right? Resilience, creativity, none of those words, and none of the benefits that come from those words come from safe spaces. It comes from uncomfortable spaces. It comes from stepping out and doing something you've never done before. It doesn't, playing safe, it will never allow you to be the true. Every one of us, just say this, every one of us has a skill set, a talent, something that is powerful within us that can not only change our life, but change so many others' lives for the better, for the better. And at the end of the day, when I stand before my Lord, and I want that for everyone else, when you stand before your Lord, that you actually utilize everything that he gave you to be of benefit to others. So that way, hopefully, when you have that meeting with your, that final meeting with your creator, that it will be a good one, that it be a good one, because you did, where they could say your Lord could say you did good. You did good. Right? So live a life of purpose, and it gives permission for others that are playing small to say, well, if she can do it, like, why I can't do it? She comes from the same, she looks like me. She comes from the same, place or background or culture that I come from. She's doing it. But maybe I can do it. You may spark that. You may lit a fire into someone that's been playing small. It gives permission for someone else who doesn't think that they can do it to say, you know what? I actually can. I can actually do this. So you give permission, and that's empowerment. Empowerment is not just for yourself, but it empowers others, not by what comes out of your mouth, but by your actions. Because as they say, actions speak louder than words. And at the end of the day, you align with your purpose, the talents and the gifts that only you've been given, and only you can show up in the world and be able to give to others. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. I have a book here that I've read, and it is an amazing book. It's called Awaken the Giant Within, from Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins wrote this book a long time ago, but when you have gems, it's never outdated. It's never something that you could say, oh, that was for old time. He has some gems in this book. Is just amazing. So if you're looking for new strategies, if you're looking for daily, encouragement, if you don't have that circle, maybe this book might be your circle for you, that's encouraging you and challenging you and cheering for you. I know I'm cheering for you. So if for nothing else, just know that I'm here cheering for you and wanting you to be the best version of yourselves and actually show up and be who you were intended to be. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. It's Wednesday. We're almost there to the weekend. There's only a couple more days. So, think about, reflect what we shared today. Tag a friend, share this with someone. If you're on YouTube, like this video. If you're on Facebook, like this video, because it's going to grow those algorithms and actually get to those that are actually looking for content like this that can really make a difference. So you may be actually changing someone's life and you never even met them. So continue to, spread the love. Sharing is caring. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks, God willing, for another live on Wake Up Wednesdays.